Hi, I'm John Tickles, and welcome to Remote RPGs. We're finally finishing off this Quintet SNES trilogy. It's time for one of my favorite titles of all time, an epic adventure across time and space, about exploring every inch of the globe, a Herculean task of biblical proportions, a game about recreating the entire world from nothingness. Terranigma, everybody! Terranigma was an action RPG for the SNES released in Japan 1995 and in the PAL regions a year later. Here's the kicker. Unlike Soul Blazer and Illusion of Gaia, Terranigma never got released in North America because of some bullshit about American subsidiaries closing down. But for those of you who don't know about Terranigma, you don't quite understand how incredible it is, and that's why I'm so just gosh darn frustrated about how it's never been released in any form in North America, not even on the Virtual Console. What's even worse is that the game was fully translated into English because it was released in Europe. So why we don't see this masterpiece released officially here today still baffles me. Okay, I gotta relax. My anger management counselor said I need to be more positive. Okay. This is positively bullshit, Nintendo! Let's get into the plot of the game, and I will do my very best not to spoil anything outside the first hour. Terranigma follows the adventures of Ark, a young lad living in the town of Krista, a town that's theme ripped off part of Earthbound's 8 Melodies. But I'm assuming they don't have any copyright laws in a place where they don't even have goddamn toilets. Anyhow, Ark is the resident douchebag of the village for his general dickery. But Ark's assholery reaches an all-new high when he enters a forbidden chamber and opens a forbidden box that freezes everybody in town. Except Ark and the village elder. The village elder gives Ark an earful, but why would you protect an untold evil force with a single locked door that could be broken by throwing a pot at it? The elder tells Ark that it's now his responsibility to save the town, and he has to quest across the land to save his friends. However, as you leave, you find out that holy shit, they're underground. And they're the only civilization left under the surface of a dead planet. That means...
So, unless Ark wants to repopulate the world with the Elder, he needs to get to that rescuing thing.
Oh, come on. I'm sure everybody would love to play a game where Ark shows off all of his staff moves to the Elder. Anyway, Ark is soon tasked with not only saving his hometown, but returning to the surface to resurrect the friggin' world, including the animals, land, civilization, everything. That's just the abridged version, because the game has so many interweaving subplots, and those final chapters throw in some absolutely earth-shattering twists. The story of Terranigma is fantastic. Yes, it gets very convoluted near the end, but I think it hits that kind of sweet spot, where it's just ambiguous enough to be interesting, and certainly not the I give up kind of hard. Just be prepared because it's not a light ride. I like how Terranigma's plot is kind of a good mix of sci-fi and fantasy. And the plot is like the two former games mixed into one, with the religious themes those games like to carry, like, for example, Ark, saving all the animals on a rebirth world. Noah's Ark. Oh, I'm a genius. The overarching plot considers huge themes of life, death, rebirth, morality, mortality, and the duality of mankind. There's a lot of stuff to deal with here. The game's various subplots are fun too, like helping Simba become the Lion King. That's not exactly it, but shut up. You get to help famous inventors, stop an evil cult. It's great stuff. And it was all directed by Miyazaki. Tomoyoshi Miyazaki, according to Wikipedia. Not the super awesome Miyazaki, but Miyazaki! Anyway, Terranigma has the best story of the trilogy in my opinion, carrying some nice interweaving subplots and memorable characters. It's an epic tale in every sense of the word. The gameplay in Terranigma is like Illusion of Gaia on steroids, and very reminiscent of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. You move around in all 8 directions, attacking enemies with your trusty spear, solving dungeons and completing a variety of tasks among many towns and other areas. It's not always straight up action either, with some little escort missions. They only kind of suck. And a little espionage, and a lot of other little variations that keep you on your toes, and it was surprising for an SNES game. There is a little of a where the hell do I go feeling sometimes, but you should never be totally without direction. For the regular combat, I found it interesting that, for once, it wasn't a sword or a flute you used to beat the crap out of things, but a spear, which was pretty nifty in how you can do so many things with it, like the jabby jabs and the jumpy smashies and the slicey diceys, but that's only if you want to be technical about it. Combat is so much more varied than the previous games, where you would just swing your thing and maybe lunge into the bad guy. Terranigma likes to mix it up a lot more with more attacks and just so many more ways to go about combat. There's even this kind of shield attack that you can access with the tap of the shoulder button and the ability to jump, so that's one up on Link. I liked how they included the jump ability and the shield, but neither are super necessary to master, just a cool option to help you out. There's a really nice flow to the combat that just makes everything feel smooth and quick, with a great variety of enemies and areas requiring different strategies to keep you busy. Leveling up is done the basic way, as you may have to grind a little, but combat is so fun that it doesn't really matter. There's a ridiculous amount of variety in all these dungeons, and even though we don't get the Zelda quality puzzles that you're probably used to, there are Zelda-esque tools that help you climb, swim, and do other cool navigational things, and the puzzles do hold their own. There's one more awesome thing. The item system. Yeah, the item system. What I love about this item system is how well organized it is. Seriously, why can't more games just have their items so well organized like this game does? I love how easy it is to find newer weapons and to move on so quickly. But I do have a few complaints with the gameplay overall. The first one being the magic system, which is very limited and not all the magic is really useful. Also, in what seems to be a running theme of the series, they can never get the bosses quite right. Don't get me wrong, most of the boss battles are really fun, and I remember some that were really creative, but some take way too long, and some are way too difficult out of nowhere, like goddamn Bloody Mary, that bitch. Took me a billion tries. I might be exaggerating. I just want to shove this spear so far up. But other than that, I have no gripes with the battle system and the general gameplay. Now let's get into some of the more cool stuff. See, as Ark, your job is to resurrect all of the friggin' life on the planet. So the game is split into 4 chapters where you resurrect the land, then all the animals, then nature, then people. But it isn't enough to just start civilization. You have to help them along. You travel across the world, and like Illusion of Gaia, this is the real world. Welcome to Earth. You get to visit all these realistic places and meet famous historical figures too. For example, did you know that Christopher Columbus was actually locked in a castle by a creepy ass ghost until a dude with a giant spear had to save his sorry ass? That's right, if your history teacher or professor tells you otherwise, tell them to go fuck themselves. You get to help civilization advance thanks to many side quests, like using cameras to take pictures of different children. In the overall shots of the places you visit, helping people with their inventions, being the swing vote in a pivotal election, there's so much cool stuff. Admittedly, a lot of this is simplified, like the aforementioned election being pretty much like Gandhi going against Fu Manchu, but there's so much variety to see and do. Cultures, people, technology, this game feels so big. Except, there isn't a lot to do in Canada. So thanks for representing us well, guys. Come on, we gave the world cool stuff. Like, William Shatner. And Justin Bieber. And Rob... You know what? Never mind. It's okay. There are secrets galore, lots of things to see and do. Terranigma is huge, and it's a varied title that will definitely keep you busy for many hours. The graphics in the game are... Oh shit. Hold on. Okay, sorry, I had to change my pants. Because I orgasmed. Because the graphics in this game were so good. Because these graphics are amazing. There's so much variety to all the places you wander around. It's one of those games that just glues itself to your brain completely. The resurrection scenes in particular were just plain jaw-dropping for the Super Nintendo. It was some incredible stuff for the time. And oh my god, the music in Terranigma was incredible too. Not every track is amazing, but there are some really emotional and atmospheric masterpieces here. Like the mountain theme, the main theme, and that ending theme. Oh my god, that ending theme made the conclusion of this game even more beautiful. It was a really varied and gorgeous soundtrack that complemented a game that already has a lot going for it. In conclusion, Terranigma is one of my favorite games of all time. The story is a little convoluted, but still great. The gameplay is varied, fresh, and fun. The graphics and the music are the best of the best for the Super Nintendo. It was just one of those games that just kept giving and giving until the very end. The story may throw some off, and yeah, some bosses may frustrate you, but stick with it, because it is a game that does not get enough love from the masses, and I really want to see this on the Virtual Console. Just something, bring it back, please!
Please, what if I ask you really nicely? Oh yeah, you fucking like that, you dirty slut.
Well, I'm finally done with the Super Nintendo Blazer trilogy. What's up next? I'm John Tickles, and I guess you'll have to find out during our next random encounter. Pictures of different children.